Hey everyone, Cory from Aquariumcoop here. Today I want to talk about the cost of running an aquarium. There's always the looming recession, there's energy prices going up around the world. I want to start a whole fish room with 1 billion tanks. Running an aquarium could be much more efficient than you're probably running yours. Some of you will be like, well, you just described my aquarium to a T. I'm as efficient as it gets. Awesome. And then there's like the vast majority where I look at photos online and I talk with people and they're not focused on being efficient with their aquarium until maybe it's too late. Well, I witnessed this a lot when I was in Europe where people are like, my aquariums are now costing me $400 or $500 of electricity a month. They never had to pay that much before. And so, where I would start with is heat's always a big thing. So if you put your aquariums where you live, you can at least double dip there. So maybe you're heating your home for, your dog and your cat and you and your spouse or whatever, your family. Heating, maybe if it's only to 65, right? You're choosing to do that. So then you just have to heat your aquarium from there. And that's kind of where I want to talk. So first, one of the things you could be doing if you think there's going to be a recession or you are experiencing higher prices right now or got laid off from your job or tight on money, think about the fish that you're keeping. There are so many fish that don't even need a heater. Maybe it's rice fish, maybe it's a lot of the barbs, maybe it's a lot of the danios, a hillstream loach, and there's a lot of fish that we think need to be heated that don't need to be heated as high. And you've heard me maybe speak about this in our live streams we do every Sunday. Hey, show up for one, you learn something. Something like an angelfish. When we go visit them in Peru, sure, they'll be at 78 or 82, and then also 68 and 72. At that higher temperature, they're actually in breeding mode, and so they're fighting and guarding eggs and stressful. And when you keep them at 72, they're laid back and they're graceful and they eat less. Try keeping your fish cooler. A lot of times what we'll find is when a heater dies and goes bad and there's no more heat, we won't notice it till it gets really, really cold. And most times you just put your hand in there for maintenance, you're going, wow, it's really cold. The fish are still alive, maybe they're not moving quite as fast. But I think there's a happy medium there. And in the freshwater world, we can play with temperature. Not so much in the saltwater world. Maybe it just starts with you're keeping everything at 78, keep it at 76. And maybe you're keeping it at 76, try it at 74. And I think what you're going to find is most aquarium fish, and store owners know this because we have to manage lots of fish and we know when to panic, when the power is out, what temperatures. And the reality is kind of everything 72 and above pretty much works. Yes, there's a few corner cases of like, ooh, maybe you get a little more ick on clown loaches. Maybe your discus aren't happy and your pistos and your rams. But then there's the 700 other species in the store that are all fine. When you don't keep them as hot, they don't eat as much, right? And if they don't eat as much, that saves you a little bit of money on your food bill and things like that. Rimless aquariums, while they look awesome, they take way more money to heat because there's nothing holding that heat in. So maybe you devise a top for your rimless aquarium, or maybe you make the switch to the rimmed aquarium where you can put a top on there. And if you have a rimmed aquarium, you don't have a top, I highly recommend getting a top on there and starting to batten down the hatches, right? It's just more efficient. You just save money. You can put that money into buying more fish or buying dinner tonight, whatever it is. Really getting a tight fitting lid and the back strip, maybe where you're having your filters and stuff. You want that to be tight. Your fish won't jump out. That's a great perk. And so that efficient thing of like, I'm not losing fish, retaining more heat. Usually what you'll find, if your temperature was at 78 degrees right now and you don't have a top and you put a top on your aquarium will start running at like 80 degrees, even though the heater was set to 78, because the filters and the light and things like that will trap that extra heat in there from it. If you're an open-topped aquarium right now at 78 degrees, you could probably put a top on there and turn it down to like 74, and you'll be running at 76 during the day, 74 at night, which is a normal fluctuation for nature. And if you chose a few cooler water species or things that are cooler water tolerant, which most are, you could even get down to 72 to 74. And as you start doing that aquarium after aquarium, you're really going to find that things kind of happen a little bit slower, it's cheaper to keep, and it'll be just as enjoyable for you. Most plants do better at a cooler temperature, more towards 72 than 80. My fish room, I actually set the temperature to 75, so I heat the entire space. The aquariums run at about 72. And in the summer, I don't turn the AC on. They might be as high as 85 degrees in there, the water temperature, and it's almost 90 because it's hot. I'm now confident enough to do this after keeping basically hundreds and hundreds of aquariums in my care for about 15 years now. And the reality is fish are crazy adaptable. I've been at all price points to where, oh, my company is paying for all this right now, to where I was like, well, I've got a part-time job, can barely afford to do any fish, and I have to breed them, and I have to make my own tops, and I have to buy used aquariums, and I have to buy economy foods that aren't as high quality, and I have to find my way through this. And that's where I learned a lot of these things. And so right now in here, it's 75 degrees, and the heater back there is not actually on. It's just on for effect right now. Spoiler alert. All of these things contribute to the heat. And so if I put an aquarium in here and I'm at 75 degrees in here, my aquarium's probably 70 to 72, somewhere in there. Now, if I put a light on it, and if I put a hang-on back filter, a cancer filter on it, might be at 74, because those are passively going to add heat. Maybe that cancer filter you have is 30 watts. It's going to be 30 watts of energy kind of heating up your aquarium 24 hours a day. Maybe you pair that down. Maybe you go with a sponge filter because it uses on average 5 watts between an air pump and the sponge filter. You won't get that heat, but do you need that heat? So I was watching a lot of people while I was in Europe because they were feeling it the most by far. They're trying to figure out, what am I going to do because these are costing me so much? And I guess this is my reminder. Whether it costs you a lot today or not, these are world resources, and it's in your best interest to run your aquariums more efficient. Now, I'm not saying don't go out and buy our sponge filter just to save money, but maybe you think about a sponge filter when you're doing your next tank, or go buy some glass from a glass shop or your local aquarium store, get that glass top on there, start saving money today. Also learn to love a lot of the fish that go cooler. I mean, a lot of the fish in my fish room right now, guppies, endlers, I've got frogs, I've got shrimp. By the way, shrimp, I've kept outside with ice on top of the pond, right? Continually running things cooler. Honestly, I'm not seeing anything fall off. And that's the difference, I would say, is that if I was noticing anything that was detrimental, I would instantly apply more heat and do more things to make them happier. But it's the same way I found I don't need to run as much filtration on my big tanks and things like that. So I guess I'm just trying to help you guys get ready for anything that could come down the road and appreciate cooler water fish. It doesn't seem like a lot. I get it. Oh, I went from 78 to I keep it at 74. That doesn't seem like a lot. It's only 4 degrees, right? But we kind of know it in our homes, right? Oh, I run the house a little bit cooler. Wow, my power bill is a lot less. This is just one way to think about it. Get your mind thinking, ooh, maybe I should buy more efficient lights. Same with some filters and stuff and power heads. And it costs more money to make something that's very efficient. And so you have to look at that lifetime ownership cost. And I do that a lot. But if you only have one aquarium, probably doesn't make sense. If you start having 2, 3, and 4, yeah, start figuring out what you might buy next. So good luck. And I'll see you in the next tank. Hopefully I see you got a top on there.
We hope you enjoyed this video. To watch another one just like this, click here.